Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. Today we will be talking about an important planetary placement, and this is connected to our hopes, wishes and desires, and this is what we are talking about is the placement of the 11th house lord in different houses. Now the 11th house is a very important house because one, it is an Upachaya house. So over a period of time it will give you gains basis how you put in the effort and how you are able to use your social network, how you are able to build your social connections and what your wishes and desires are. So because it is an important planetary placement connected to your wishes and desires, and hence where your wishes and desires are getting fulfilled from, what are the social connections you need to make, in which direction you need to put in the effort is important, and what are the results and manifestations of the 11th house. So today let's talk about the placement of the 11th house lord and what results it gives us in different houses. So let's begin with the first house first. Now the first house or the lagna or the ascendant and its placement of the 11th house lord into the first house is a very effort based placement. One, because the 11th house lord is going 3 places from itself. So which means that the gains of the 11th house, that means your wishes and desires coming true, will come through effort that you put in by yourself, because now it is the lagna which is involved, which means the more efforts you put in the direction of what your wishes and desires are, you will get more gains. So if your wish and desire is to have better health, then you better work on your health. Better you start some health regimen, you put more discipline in your health. If your wish and desire is for more name and fame in society, then obviously you will have to put more effort in that direction to get more. Which means that nothing is given to you on a platter, nothing is free for you, there is no free lunch. Without effort, nothing will come through. However, this placement is a very strong placement of you gaining a lot from your social connections. So if you put in the effort in building social connections, in building your social network and having better friendships and work hard on making good friends, good social network, then those social network will help you in getting your wishes and desires fulfilled. Specifically aiming at where your health is concerned, your reputation in society is concerned, your standing in society is concerned, and how you are able to think clearly and making choices. So this is a very strong placement where somebody in your social network can help you in making choices and in making and get a clearer thinking. So there would be somebody, maybe an elder brother or a friend or anybody in your social network who could be one who influences you, or you could be helping others through your thinking, through your decision making also. You could be a counselor to others. However, this is a strong placement of you reaching out to somebody and asking for help or seeking counsel or seeking guidance before you make any critical decisions in your life. So it could be anybody. Friend need not be necessarily a friend. It could be a teacher, it could be a guru, it could be a boss with whom you enjoy a good relationship. It could be your father who you reach out to, or it could be anybody in the family or even your spouse, which means whoever is socially very close to you, whoever you feel is a good counsel and you feel most closest to and more comfortable with, you will reach out to that person for counseling, for advice, for any guidance in your thinking ability, in your making choices, and that will be useful for you. If you have not been doing that, then please reach out to somebody who you feel can be a good counsel for you, can give you good support and can help you better in making those choices. If nothing else, even if you are very sure of your choices, they can be sounding board, they can be second opinion, but when you do that, you are activating this better results coming from your efforts, because you are activating the 11th house of your wishes and desires getting fulfilled. So if you activate the 11th house because of its placement in the first house, and that's what you do with the other houses also, you have a greater chance of getting more success. Secondly, this is also a placement where you think globally. Whether you do something about it or not is a secondary thing, but you definitely think globally in terms of your heart does melt when you see socially if there are any challenges, there are issues in the world, and your heart melts, and you may also try and help in whatever way you can. So larger social issues of the world, and not just the local issues are also something which you are worried about. So certain things like climate change and others which worry a lot of us, but many times we don't do anything about it. So this is a stronger placement of that at a global level, at a holistic level also you think about it. This is also a good placement where you can use your communication and your branding for a better place in society, and using that to also get better gains, because it is the third house of efforts and communication, which means if you work on your communication skills, if you work on your social skills and you use technology, then you can get better gains. This is also good placement where your writing ability, your communication ability will help you get better gains. So if you are a writer, you like to write, you have a blog, or you write anything on any topic and you publish that, or you put it out using technology to large groups of people, then you can also get better acclaim, you can also have a better status, and people may also look up to you. A very, very good placement of using your social network to do something on your own. This is a very, very strong placement of an entrepreneur, because now the 11th house lord is going third house from itself in the Lagna itself. So it is a very, very strong manifestation. So you using your social network to something on your own, or starting some enterprise, using a friend, or using the counsel of a friend, or using an investment of a friend, or getting a partnership along with the friend or somebody in a social context, is this very, very strong placement. If nothing else, you may use them as a sounding board. You may use that advice so that you do something of your own, or before you take a decision to quit your career and then start something of your own, there would be somebody, a wise counsel who you depend on. If you don't, please take the wise counsel before you do something, because that will help you to either pull you back if there are more risks involved, or to egg you on and motivate you and help you and even support you in your endeavor if this is a strong placement. This is also a strong placement where you use your communication skills and you use technology to be able to use or increase your social network. So this is a good placement where you can reach out to people and you make better friends, you make better social network. The more social network you create, the better friendships you make, the better you will also gain in life, because somewhere those social connections will be useful for you. This will be useful for you in your career, this will be useful for you in your business, this will be useful for you in your status in society. The other thing is, sometimes such people also feel that I gain more respect, or I have a better standing if I know a lot of important people. So such people sometimes may also work on making friends who have celebrity status or rich or powerful people, or they will have people who are rich and powerful as friends, because of which a total social network or social value also increases. Or it could be the other way around. You could be somebody who is socially very powerful and useful and good, and because of which your social network is also good. So overall, a very, very powerful placement of the 11th house lord in the first house, which means any and every desire of yours which you have in life can come true, can be useful for you, and can help you in overall dissemination of the first house in any area of your life. So if you have this placement, it is a lucky placement for you. Only thing is, it is an Upachaya house. It will grow over a period of time, and with your efforts and your language and your communication skills. So don't flag out on your communication skills. Don't put a spoke into your efforts, and you will find that the more social network and social circle that you create, the better gains you get. That is the placement of the 11th house lord in the first house for you. The placement of the 11th house lord in the second house is a very good placement. Here, two houses of money and gains are getting connected. First, the 11th house of gains and the house which will fulfill your wishes and desires is getting placed in the second house of earnings and savings and livelihood, which means that gains, higher gains and manifestation of your desires will come through if you utilize this the energy of the 11th house placement in the second house well. Because the second house is also the house of livelihood, this is a strong placement where your livelihood can be connected to how strong your social network is. This is just one step down from the placement of the 11th house lord in the Lagna, because in the Lagna, in the first house, this is an all-round coming together of results for you through your social connects. Here, this is specifically in the second house, getting connected to very strongly your earnings. So most of the energy of the 11th house lord is going into your earnings and savings using your social contacts, which could mean either your social contacts help you in being able to increase your earnings, or through your social contacts you put in effort to get your livelihood. So you could have friends in powerful places, you could have people who your family knows, your father knows very well. Using those social contacts you are able to increase your livelihood, either finding a job or a career, or using their services, or reaching out to them to do business with them, or to sell them your services, your products or services, whatever. So definitely there is some connection to your social network or your ability, how you handle your social network, your social circle, to get more livelihood, to get more money, and to increase your savings, which means the stronger your social network is, the stronger your earnings, the stronger your savings. This is also important because the 11th house lord is going 4 places from itself. The 4th house is the house of material resources, money, all sorts of riches that you can get, tangible riches, house, car, jewelry, everything is deemed by the 4th house. So 4th house of material resources, 11th house of gains, fulfillment of desires, and the 2nd house of income, livelihood and savings. Extremely strong material resources based connection, money based connection, finances based connection, and have all the riches, all the resources in your life. The other thing is, the 4th house is also the house of your mental peace and domestic happiness, which means that your social network will be the source of your mental peace and domestic happiness, which means that you will have good friends, you will have a good social circle, and not only will they help you in making more money, but the more time you spend in your social circle, the more you socialize, you will also be able to feel more happy and more peaceful. This is also a good placement where you are disturbed, you are mentally disturbed, there are domestic challenges at home. You reach out to your friend, or you socialize with your friend, or you spend some time with your friends to relax. And then because you are relaxed, the anxiety and the tribulations of the house are lessened, and you are coming back home a more peaceful man, a more sedated man, a more happy man. And so the peace at home is maintained because you are leaving all your negative energies outside and maintaining the happiness at home. So overall, a happy placement of the 11th house lord in the 2nd house, income based placement, and serving you in terms of money and enhancing your social status. This is also a good placement of using your social network to get gains, but the fine print is not compromising on your principles and your values, because the 2nd house is your principles and values. This could also mean that through your mother you build more social connections, and through the social connections you also earn. This is also a good placement where your family is socially very relevant. You are born in a family which is a rich family or socially well-known family, or you have a large family, you have a large extended network. So this becomes useful for you in the long run. This is also a strong placement where the gains are coming into the house through 4th house related things. So good success in real estate, in plots of lands, or dealing with any domestic products whichever are useful for others, and through that making money. This is also extremely good placement for dealing in anything related to the kitchen, to cutlery, to food items, to any appliances used in the kitchen or food items, because the 2nd house is also the house of food. So real estate, all domestic appliances, food related areas which you can do business in, or working in a company which either is connected to real estate or is connected to any domestic appliances, or anything which is useful in the domestic household or brings peace and happiness in the domestic world, serving in the organization or working in a large organization who caters to this, and that gets you money, and that gives you social upliftment also. So extremely strong placement of the 11th house lord in the 2nd house, a money bringing, a mental peace bringing, a happiness bringing, and a placement of increasing your net worth. A great placement. Use it if you have such a placement. The placement of the 11th house lord in the third house is a strong placement now, because the 11th house lord is going fifth from itself. Now the fifth house is the house of gains and also the house of risks and the house of getting gains over a period of time, because the third house is an upachaya house. So the 11th house lord placed fifth from itself means gains coming and your desires and fulfillment and your wishes getting fulfilled in the third house of efforts. So without efforts nothing comes to you, and with taking risks. When placed in the Lagna, it is effort that is needed to be put in. But here with the third house, you will also have to take risks, and larger risks and higher risks and more effort before results come to you. So the good thing is more gains will come to you when you take more risk, and more gains will come to you when you put in more efforts also. So in that way, the more gains and higher gains coming with effort and risk is puts you a step ahead of the placement of the 11th house lord in the Lagna, specifically because it is the fifth placement which gives you gains and almost guarantees you gains if you are able to play the cards well. Now 11th house lord of wishes and desires getting into the third house of effort and self-enterprise. So your desire to do something of your own can get you gains or better gains than working in a career or working under somebody. So if you are working under somebody as in a job, think twice if you want to continue in that for long, because the 11th house lord getting connected to the third house in a fifth placement means that if you don't take risks, then you will not be able to do something of your own. So it's a good placement to take risks. However, take risks by virtue of seeing what other strengths are given to you, how strong the placement is, what yogas you have, and what dasha period you are in. Taking risk, undue risk in a bad dasha will not serve you. However, gains will definitely come to you. Social connections will get you good gains. This is a good placement of good gains in anything connected to the arts. So if you are a dancer, you are a musician, then this is a great placement that you do very well in these endeavors, and you gain also from it. And your wishes and desires, everything to become a good musician, to become a good artist, to become a good dancer will not only be fulfilled but also get you gains. This is a placement, strong placement of taking risks in career, because this is the fifth house placement away from the 11th house and the third house of self-enterprise. So take risks and get gains, but use your social network to take risks. So if you are working in a career, work with your social network, or get in touch with your friends or those who you know and see how they can get connected to whatever you want to do on your own. If you reach out to them, if you use their services, if you use them as a sounding board, or if you involve them in your endeavor, in whatever you want to do, you want to become an entrepreneur, you want to start a practice of your own, you want to become a consultant, you want to become a businessman, whatever you want to do on your own, without reaching out to your social network or using your social network, you may not get gains. So this is a strong network that through your social network over a period of time, taking risks, you will get gains, and using technology and use your communication skills. This also means that you need to brand yourself stronger and use your communication skills to increase your social network, and through your social network you should be able to market yourself and brand yourself better so that you get more gains also. So it is a fallback positions from both. This is also strong placement where if you are working in the large organization, then using your social skills and using your friendly connections within the organization, you can also get gains and you can also rise higher. So overall, a great placement of the 11th house lord in the third house, fifth from itself. So take the risk, make your social connections useful, and get everything out of life with this placement. And that is the placement of the 11th house lord in the third house for you. The placement of the 11th house lord in the fourth house is a slightly tricky placement, because now the 11th house lord is going 6 places from itself, and 6th house is also the house of sicknesses and enemies and competition, which means their social life is becoming a competition to your domestic life. And if you spend more time out with your friends, then your domestic life will suffer. This is a strong placement where people are spending so much time with your friends and they are so occupied with your friends that getting into a domestic life is either not easy for them, They are trying to find a good enough partner, life partner, but somehow their relationships don't work and they don't get married, or the breakups happen, and they are getting as much of your peace and happiness from the social network, and because of which either your home is not being established or the home is feeling competition from your social network. So a lot of time you spending more time with your friends or your social connection will spoil the environment at home. Your spouse may not take too kindly to you spending time with your folks. So if you're married, you're already in a committed relationship, learn to balance between your domestic life and your social connections. If you're spending too much time outside, then definitely the challenge will come in your household. And this is a strong placement where you're spoiling the gains coming in a material perspective if you're not keeping your spouse happy. Your spouse has to be happy with what is the social network that you have. Then the money will also come in. The fourth house will also be happy if your spouse is happy, and then the material resources will also be higher, and you will get gains, house, property, everything you will gain, because your social life is becoming a competition also to your material gains because of the 11th house lord being placed 6 houses away. On the flip side, this is also strong placement where if you have a service bent of mind, where you want to help people, who are themselves homeless, who don't have a home, or they have a challenge in their household where relationships are concerned, and you are becoming a social counselor, and then through your social connections you are helping families heal, because the 6th house is also the house of healing. So if you are trying to mend relationships, you are becoming a family counselor, you are becoming a relationship counselor, this is a good placement. This is a good placement of helping the people who are homeless to acquire a home. Because the 6th house is also the house of debts and loans, so this is a good placement where you are helping the homeless people through giving them loans to make their own house. So it's a good placement of working in banks or working in financial institutions and helping people either get their livelihood or get a home or get homely appliances or domestic appliances. You could be working in such a company which caters to other people's needs, wishes and desires of a home, of any other item or domestic conveniences, through offering them help and support. This is also strong placement where you could be a relationship counselor or even a lawyer who is helping couples either to solve their issues or even to go through a breakup amicably and through help. This is also placement where sickness comes into the house because of your social connection, which means that sometimes if you spend too much money and time and effort with friends outside, then the issues at home in terms of the financial situation going down, and then you not being able to help the family, and then a breakup happening with your spouse is also strong connection. So you need to be a little careful with this placement, though it is also gain bringing position if the social relationships are balanced between with how much time and effort and happy you can keep your spouse. This is also strong placement where the gains and hopes and desires are being fulfilled out of working out of your home. So this is a strong placement of somebody who works out of home and helps the other people. You can help others through being a consultant, working out of home, online, using online media, or working through a large organization, working out of home for social causes also. So strong placement to help more, serve others more, good gains also, as long as you are able to balance between your social network and your domestic happiness. If your home is not happy, the gains will not come in. So this is the placement of the 11th house lord in the 4th house for you. The placement of the 11th house lord in the 5th house is an excellent position. One, this is the placement of a gain making house, that 11th house where your wishes and desires can also be fulfilled through the 5th house of gains. And being 7th from it, it means that the more you balance between your social life and use your social connections in terms of relationships, then you will get better gains, which means that you need to be able to balance between what you need and what others need. So when you have a social connection, stronger social connection, they will of course help you get better gains. But to make social connections without a balance, where you are making them only because you are greedy and you are looking at what you can get out of them, and you are not seeing how will they be able to, they will also be helped by you, then that will not help. That will be a larger risk, and that will also be a placement of loss. So whenever you are making social connections or friends, have a balance between how much you are serving them also and how much you are being served. If you are in a social connection of friends, or you have a strong network where they are helping you more than you are being able to help them, or you don't want to help them as much and you are more of a seeker, then slowly those relationships will fade and the gains will go away. This is a strong placement of very strong gains from your social network. So take risks in building your social network and take risks in doing more for them and expecting less. So through giving them more and taking that risk and expecting less, you will build a larger and larger social circle, and gains will come into your house also. These gains will come in from a career perspective. Very, very strong placement that you take risks using your social network to get into larger organizations. So if you are having a balanced relationship where you are very good at making a relationship and then using that to work in larger organizations, a career oriented position, then you will also be served. This is also good placement where you take speculative risks working with your friends, or investing in something with your friends also invested and then making gains, or you in a joint contract are investing in a speculative investment and making gains. This could be you also investing in something with your romantic partner or even your spouse and then getting gains out of it. This is also a strong placement where you have a romantic partner who was a part of your social circle first and then eventually you fell in love. Also strong placement where your children may be gained later on through your social network. So when your children grow up and they need help, the social network that you have, that comes to your help also. So good placement overall to take risks, put in the investment to make those relationships, learn to balance between how much you gain and others gain, and you will be able to do more out of it. This is also a good placement where you can invest in a more educative enterprise with your social network, and in that speculative investments which is connected to education or education material or anything related to educational like stationery or something, you also can make gains and you can get good money out of it. This is also very strong placement where you could be a very good public performer and to large audiences and can have a lot of name, fame and adulation, because the 5th house is the house of public performance and the 11th house is of large social network and fulfillment of your desires. So if you are a public performer, you are a presenter, you are a trainer, you are an artist, whatever public performances you give, you can be a great presenter if you work on those lines. If you have some interest and you use that interest and reach out to your social network, and through your hobbies you want to do something in a partnership with somebody who is a friend, then also you can make good gains. So if you are very good at something, or a hobby or some interest that you have, and you get into a business with a friend or social network, then over a period of time you can get good gains as long as you balance how much they make out of it and you make out of it. So overall gain making position of the 11th house lord in the 5th house, make the most use of it. The placement of the 11th house in the 6th house is one of the more trickier placements. The reason being is that the 11th house lord is going 8 places from itself and into the 6th house. Now the good thing is the 6th house is an Upachaya house, the 11th house is also an Upachaya house. The 6th house is the house of Artha or money. The 11th house is the house of Kama or desires. So desires of Kama, of money coming through is this placement. However, the upheavals that the 8th house placement denotes will also come to you, which means that desires and fulfillment of desires in money or career or job will come to you after initial hiccups, will run into obstacles from time to time. It will be a roller coaster ride. It will not be an easy ride. Especially if you are working in a large organization, then you will have more upheavals. You work in small organizations, there will be less upheavals but less gains also. So if your desire is to make more money, if your desire is to work in larger brands, larger organizations, then you have to go through the initial hiccups. But this is also strong placement that the gains of the 6th house in a job or a career will come to you more if you are more friendly in your organization. The 6th house is also the house of competition. Overcoming competition can be better if you have social connection with the people you work. So socializing with the people who you work with your colleagues will be a great thing, so that the competition that they have, or the animosity that they have, or the jealousy that they have in their heart for you can be reduced, and you can convert that into more friendship or lesser animosity or lesser jealousy or lesser competition. This is also a good place. This is also strong placement where your social contacts become your competition, which means sometimes they can be competing with you. So a lot of times this has a lot of snobbish value. So you have friends who are jealous of you. If you do something, they will try to take a larger car. If you buy a house, they will try to take a larger house. They will come and compete with you. And sometimes you get into those competition. You want a larger car than your friend. You want to have a better house than your friends. You want to have a better spouse or a girlfriend than your friends. Don't get into this competition, because this is a damaging one for you. This is also a placement where a social network can bring you issues and challenges, especially if you take debts or loans from them. So you may take loans or debts from a friend or a social contact, and later on you fall in problems because they then become enemies to you, because they are not getting the money back, they serve court notice to you. Or the other way around also can happen. You give money to somebody who is a friend or somebody in your social network or extended social network, and the money doesn't come to you. Money runs into obstacles of the 8th house, and then you run into litigations and challenges and issues with them. So be a little careful with this. This is a placement where sudden problems happen in life. So sudden problems in your job, sudden problems in your career, sudden problems in your health, sudden issues with your social network. Till yesterday, somebody who was your great friend, suddenly some issue happens, it snowballs, and you lose that contact. You lose that friend circle, and that gets into a snowball effect, and many other things one after the other come up. So be a little careful how you use your social contacts. Also be careful what you hope and wish and desire. Sometimes your wishes and desires could be so strong you compete unnecessarily, and you unnecessarily bring up the upheavals and issues and challenges of the 8th house. However, this is also strong placement of your wishes and desires coming in through suddenly and without your knowledge also, how the wish and desire was fulfilled. This is a strong placement of a career in a research oriented organization. This is the strong placement of your career getting connected to insurance, to taxation, through government projects or government oriented organizations, or somehow getting connected to government or serving government. This is also placement where you are serving others who are going through upheaval themselves at a social level. So you could be working in a large organization who is like insurance companies, where through social upheavals or upheavals of people in their life, you are helping them, and through that you serve them. You could also be working in an NGO, in a charitable organization. You could be working in a medical facility, or there could be in some research where you're trying to find solutions, or even medical solutions to somebody who or to large global illnesses. Overall strong placement, as long as you are able to keep your social network under check, you keep your hopes, wishes and desires under check, you don't take undue risks, you don't get into undue loans and debts, and you keep some distance from your social network, and know who your true friends are and who your enemies are, who can work behind your back. If you are able to do this, then over a period of time, good gains from social contacts, good gains using the social contact for an upliftment of your salaries, upliftment of your career and job, is also the placement of the 11th house in the 6th house for you. The placement of the 11th house lord in the 7th house is a very, very good placement. One reason it is a good placement is because the 11th house is the house of gains and also the house of fulfillment of your wishes and desires through your social contacts. What is the 7th house? The 7th house is everybody who you deal on a day-to-day basis. This is not a one-time meeting. This is a meeting that you do regularly. So even a security guard at your organization who you pass daily is somebody who you see almost on a day-to-day basis. Your driver who drops you to work is also somebody who you see on a day-to-day basis. So anybody and everybody who you meet with or you see on a day-to-day basis, including your team, including your spouse, including your partners, all constitute the 7th house. So now the 11th house lord is going 9 places away of gains into the 7th house, which means gains can come from anybody and everybody for you if you deal with them accordingly. Now what is the 9th house placement? The 9th house means duty. You do your duty to others first. You remember the dharma. What is your dharma? Your main dharma is to treat others very, very well. And through treating others very well, you will build your social contacts, which the 11th house represents. And through building your social contacts, through treating other people well, you will get gains. Your fulfillment of desires will be given to you. Because it is also the 9th house connect away, so which means that your social connections may come from a vast multitude of people and not maybe locally. You may have friends and connections across boundaries, and you may have a lot of people who you call friends or who you call social contact across cultures also. A strong placement to gain over a period of time, 11th house being an Upacha house, through relationship building with the 11th house, with the 7th house denotes. So as long as you build the relationship and keep a balance between how much you can gain out of the social contact, out of the friendship, and how much they can gain, then you will gain a lot, and the doors of fate and luck can open for you. Because the 9th house is also the house of higher learning, which means the more qualified you are, the more gains you will get out of a relationship. And the more qualified you are, you will also find that you are able to use those qualifications. You can use those higher learning to also get into good business contacts, which means through your higher learning, through your qualification, you will be able to impress others to come into a contract with you or partnership with you or come close to you. So building social contacts through your higher qualification, or building your social contacts because of the life experiences that you have and using them to treat others very, very well, and then to influence them that they want to be friends with you, and then you gain from them, is this placement. This is also good placement where you travel far and wide and you have social contact or your friends across boundaries. You may also meet people in spiritual places or a long distance travel or even education, and one of them can end up becoming a business partner or even your spouse. This is also placement where lots of luck, fate and luck and desires can be fulfilled by having more faith and belief in relationship. The more faith and belief you have in your relationship, you depend on them and you balance those, you will get gains. So a strong placement of the 11th house lord in the 7th house, in 9 houses away from itself, a fantastic placement. So keep your partnerships intact, build on your relationship and make the most out of it. The placement of the 11th house lord in the 8th house is a placement where most of the things related to your desires and your wishes and your social contact and your career happen suddenly and sometimes without warning, because it is placed 10th houses away from itself. So career gets strongly connected to the 8th house. So working in an industry which is related to other people's upheavals, other people's monies, other people's health, medical, insurance, taxation, audits, government agencies, working any of these, or working in large organizations, hospitals, or research oriented work, or minerals, or mining, or granite or stone which is got from underground, or agriculture. So multitude of things which are related to insurance, which are related to audits, which are related to safety, which is related to finding information or digging out information, or connected to things below the earth, is this placement, and getting a strong career and getting growth over it and getting gains, which means over a period of time in such industries you may find gains and you will make more money and your fulfillment of heart's desires will come through that. However, because it is in the 8th house, so obstacles and upheavals will also come in your career from time to time, sometimes without warning. So till yesterday everything was good, suddenly you are put into a new project, suddenly you are put into a new team, suddenly you are told that organization is not doing very well and your job or your career is in danger there. So it is an upheaval oriented roller coaster ride in your career. But if you get connected to 8th house industries, the number of examples I've given, then by virtue of helping and serving others who themselves are going through upheavals or research oriented or connected to digging out information analysis, the career is more stable. So if you are in an industry with this placement which is not related to any of these, then upheavals will be more stronger. If you are connected to any of the 8th house careers, then the upheavals and ups and downs in your life will be less. This is also a strong placement where your social contacts help you in your upheavals. So whenever you need help, you reach out to your friends. There will be some friends who are your 4 AM friends who will reach out to you, and you will also maybe such a person that you are reaching out to anybody who needs your help and you don't see time or what status you are in. You help people with anything and everything, whatever is at your whatever is available to you. This is also strong placement where you help others through upheavals and issues, and through that you build your social connect, which in turn helps in your career. So you help people and you make good social connections, and those social connections later on tell you, do you want to work with us or do you want to work in my company? So you make good social connects because of you being of very helpful nature to people who are going through issues and upheavals, and through that you gain in your career and you get good gains and your fulfillment of desires come through. This is also a placement where sometimes your fulfillment of desires run into obstacles without warning, sometimes without reason, and sometimes your fulfillment of desires come without anything from your side, as if by magic. This is also good placement of all those people who work in all those virtual world. So virtual money, other people's money, wealth, finance institutions, banking, or in the cinema or any artistic world which is all virtual like films, and getting good gains out of it, and through your social contacts is also this placement. This is also a placement where you get gains through somebody else's problem. So sometimes manager falling ill, manager suddenly leaving, or some others challenges to somebody, and then you are suddenly gaining in, you get a promotion, you get a new role, you get a new project, or you are sent to foreign connections, where upheavals of others get you gains is also this placement. So overall, a good strong career oriented, job oriented placement with some ups and downs, social upheavals also, sudden ups and downs even in your friend circle. So be little careful who you get connected with, and keep good balance in your relationship, and you will find that the social connections will come to your support, will fulfill your desires and help you out more than any other placement. So such is the placement of the 11th house lord in the 8th house for you. The placement of the 11th house lord in the 9th house is also a very, very excellent placement, because one, the 11th house lord is going 11 places from itself into the 9th house, which means that your heart's desires and all get fulfilled through faith and luck, and through higher learning, and having more faith and belief, and through moral and ethical conduct. Which means if you present yourself as somebody who is very ethical, who is very moral, who is a person who has higher learning, higher qualification, and you have good experience in life, you are a good counselor, you are a guru, you are an expert, through all of these placements or through all of these ways that you feature yourself, you build your social contacts, and those social contacts all help you for you to gain in the fulfillment of your wishes and desires. A strong placement where your higher education is helped through your social contacts. So when you have good social contacts in good places, or your family has good social contacts, through those social contacts you get more qualification, through this qualification you make more social contacts. So it's a two-way street. This is also a good placement where your gurus or your father could be somebody who could also be useful for you to build your social contacts. Your gurus could be people who themselves are very famous people and who themselves have big reach. This is also a good placement where through your father you gain in your life. Your wishes and desires are getting fulfilled through your father, or you get a good career or job through your father, or you follow in the steps of your father, and through that you gain socially, you gain the entry into large organization, and you work in large organization, and through that you gain. This is the strong placement of you traveling away from your homeland and then making your gains with people across cultures, or even if you don't go out of your place of birth, you using your higher learning to work for MNCs, multinational corporations or companies which work abroad. Very strong placement of very good gains over a period of time through your social connections, using your education and higher learning, and also your moral ethics. This is a good placement that you could get connected to travel and tourism, even religious travel and tourism, or through spiritual places also. This is a strong placement also of a person who himself could be a spiritual guru, and through his high learning then is able to reach out and influence society more and use your spiritualism to be able to help more people at a world level. A strong placement, result oriented placement, is the placement of the 11th house lord in the 9th house for you. The placement of the 11th house lord in the 10th house is a mixed position from a gains and a career. Now, because the 11th house lord is placed 12th from itself in the house of karma, which means doing the right karma will get you gains, will be a fulfillment of your desires. Doing the wrong karma will get you losses. So your karma that you do on a day-to-day basis is important, which also means the right karma will make you good social contact, will get you more socially relevant, will get you good, will make your network a larger network who believes in you, who also respects you and who likes you, and you make gains out of it. However, if you don't make good social contacts, or if your karma is that people want to keep away from you, then you will make losses both in your day-to-day life, in your career, as well as socially. You could also be placed in a career which is helping people who themselves go through losses. So you are helping people in a medical field, or you are helping people who themselves are in solitude or mentally depressed, or issues, or facing issues and challenges in their life, or very anxious, is also this placement. This is also placement where you could be working in a career which requires you to work alone in solitude. So rather than working with teams, your project work could be more doing alone and then submitting your work, and then maybe work with teams. So the work that you do on a day-to-day basis could be something that you do more alone and less in a teamwork, and then you gain out of it. And then this is a placement of over a period of time using your individual work and gaining. However, this could also mean that socially you are not able to gain much. In social situations you are aloof also, and you don't make much gains out of that. But if you work hard on your social connections, but also don't invest too much money and time in that, don't invest more effort than is required, then you are safer. If you invest too much time in your social life, then your career will get affected. You will be at a loss in your career. This is the placement of somebody who could be spending long hours after work socially with friends, and then the next day you don't have the energy to work, and then again in the evening you have something socially. So a large part of your initial life in your social connect you spend and you waste, and your career gets affected in this placement. So one needs to be a little careful with this placement. If you are an individual performer, if you are in technology, if you work on projects alone, or if you are connected to organizations which help others in social upheavals, or people who are in constabulary or armed forces or hospitals, or other people who are working alone, or you are working in a company which is abroad and you are placed in a branch where there are not many people and you work more on your own and alone, then this is a strong placement of gains coming to you over a period of time. This is a placement where you choose your social circle well, because you could lose money through your social circle also. So be wary of not investing money in your friends' endeavors, not reaching out to people to ask for help to get gains in career. Something on your own that you do and you use the social circle sparingly is this placement. So it's more a placement of doing it alone, not depending too much on social circle, keeping a distance from friends and being careful who you choose as friend. If you're able to do that, then your career is safe, your karma is safe, and you'll make money and you'll get peace of mind. That is the placement of the 11th house lord in the 10th house for you. The placement of the 11th house lord in the 11th house is a very strong placement. Here the focus of life is what you wish and what you desire. So you will have large wishes and you have large desires, big desires, and most of the time you are focused on them, which is a good thing to do, because one has to keep in mind what one's goals are and should be focused on that. One should not procrastinate. One should put effort in what one desires and keep moving towards there. This is the strong placement where you build social contacts, you build social networks so that you can fulfill your wishes and desires. Your wish and desire is also to have a good social circle. You want to make friends in good circle and you want to make gains from it. So this is a placement where your desires are strong for social network, and through your social network you fulfill your desires also. So this is a strong placement where you have a lot of friends, but the specifically close friends are very, very few. Large network of people, maybe long list of friends on social network like Facebook and other such platforms, but the actual friends who come to help you may be less. So putting too much of your faith in social network to help your wishes and desires come will not help you, because this is an upachaya house and over a period of time only it helps. So this is a strong placement where you need to be careful in who you think is your actual friends and use only them to fulfill your desires. If you invest time, effort and energy in spending time or investing with those friends who could not be that useful for you, then maybe you will not make losses. However, the amount of desires that you have to get gains out of your social network may not come to you. This is a placement where you work very hard, and then through the hard work you are able to influence people around you and they have faith in you, and through that you build gains also. A very strong placement when your desire is to work with big brands, big companies and Google and others, and you work hard towards attaining there, and one fine day you achieve through hard work. Again, because it is an upachaya house and gives you results over a period of time. Your social network helps you in fulfilling your desires and reaching large organizations, and you may also help others to get into large organizations, like referring friends in your organization, in your company, and to your managers. This is also placement where you want social recognition in life, and you work hard towards getting the social recognition. You want to be known, you want people to know you, you want people to like you, you want a celebrity status, you want to be somebody important in life, and you are working towards there. And if you are able to strongly build a social network, a strong social connection, then maybe one day you may be able to reach there. Of course, if you have other strong planetary placements also. This is a good placement of being able to invest in large organizations, your time and effort, which are also helpful to large multitudes of people. So any organization which has presence in many countries, is a multinational corporation, and who has a holistic approach, makes products which are used worldwide, has services which are used worldwide, in this position. So if you have a strong 11th house lord in the 11th house, a lot of gains socially, a lot of gains working in large organizations, in a strong brand, and all your wishes and desires coming true. A strong placement of the 11th house lord in the 11th house for you. The placement of the 11th house in the 12th house is a strong placement of gains from foreign lands. Strong placement of getting gains also from working with family, strong gains coming in earnings, because now the 11th house is going second from itself. However, this means that if you compromise on your principles, if you compromise on your values, because that's what the second house also denotes, then losses will come to you. So choose your principles very, very well. Choose who you work very well. Second, the second house is also the house of language. So be careful on how you talk. Talking out of turn, not using the right words, not being able to communicate right, will put you into losses, would put you into roadblocks. This is also strong placement of you earning a lot of money through creativity, through your imagination. So the more innovative you can be, more out of the box you can be, the more boundaries you push, then you can gain more. This is the strong placement of more imaginative you are, the more hardworking you are, you will get more gains. However, being unrealistic will get you losses. So be careful that don't make unrealistic goals with this placement, because this is a placement of making unrealistic desires, having unrealistic wishes, and then losing through that because those don't come through, and you keep putting in money, effort in something which will not get you gains. So be careful with this placement. If it's a friendly placement, of the 11th house lord in the 12th house, lot of gains will come through from foreign connections, from foreign clients, from multinational companies, and living abroad and making good gains abroad. You could also be working in charity organizations, you could be working in the medical field, you can be working in armed forces, you could be working with government organizations across boundaries, or in foreign service, or even doing business abroad. However, this is a good placement of making a lot of money abroad, as long as you use your social connections, you work on your social connections, you work with strong principles and desires. This would also be a placement where your family is abroad and then you later on go abroad. Or your family is spread into different countries around the world, and through that you also gain careers or jobs or even business. So the options for you also increased by virtue of having many people in many places. This is the placement of a well-traveled person, very creative and imaginative person if it's a strong placement, but be a little careful if it goes into an inimical sign, because then your growth over a period of time to fulfill your desires and wishes can be at stake and can be slower than you imagine. So if you are careful and you take time to build your social contacts, communicate well, work on your principles and desires, so huge gains and a very moksha bringing placement if you are also trying to help others who themselves are in distress, and who help others who themselves need to be helped in making their own livelihood. So if you help others to gain their own livelihood, to reach their wishes and desires also, then this is a moksha oriented placement for you, a strong placement of getting gains both in this world and the hereafter. That is the placement of the 11th house lord in the 12th house for you. So friend, now that we have analyzed the placement of the 11th house lord in 12 houses, please look into your own horoscopes and see how the placements work out for you, what are the yogas involved, what are the doshas involved, what are the good or the bad aspects, and then basis your placement work out what kind of placement this is, how you should utilize it, and how you should take the placement forward. So friends, like this video, share this video, please reach out to me if you're looking for a consultation from me. Please subscribe to my channel, and with some other video some other time. This is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.